Let's quickly look at the Lowe's website and talk about what I feel like we could possibly do if we work together on the website to bring Lowe's to a new level of fencing. Now, currently you have a lot of commodity items, of course, but there's only certain ways that the contractor can engage and certain ways that the customer can get DIY. I suggest we do something like this with these help you build ready to install custom fence panel systems or gates. And it says select from the family style thumbnail to see more options. And what would happen here is these are basically families underneath each one of these thumbnails. So maybe if you want a convex panel or a concave panel, these are not commodity panels. These are actually installable systems between posts. So you click on one, you open it up, you take a look at some different options. And, for this family, there's a few different options. They can freely click on a different option to try it out, and the price could update how it might. And then they could go down to the quick draw and estimate tool. Now, this is built into our software already. I don't know how these would tie together, but I'm guessing that there's a way we could do this. And so they go in, they get their Google Earth image of their map, and then they it's already to scale. Of course, you've seen this a million times. And we bring it into our software so we can keep it with our proposal. And so then the user can scale off their property, and they can get themselves an idea of their linear footage right there with the panel that they're looking at on your website. Now they go back to the 3D viewer, and they get just a flat yard. There's no terrain at this point, but it gives them an idea of what it costs, and then we could somehow bring that back into the Lowe's site and to give them an idea. They have 241 feet here, and it gives them a budgetary idea of what the fence panel system costs, not the posts. And then if they want to have it professionally installed, of course they can do that. Now, if they go back and they want to do a gate, this is something that there is just no solution in the industry for. And we are currently working on it for Fence Genius to make it to where people can select a family style, just like this here. And then they can change the heights and the widths or choose single gates or pairs as they want. And this is all being built right now within Fence Genius. And so they can look at the different family styles, kind of find one that, matches roughly what they're thinking of. And then when they drill into that one, they'll see the different options in the family. And maybe we have a price for a 6-foot gate. This is all hypothetical at this point. It's basically requirements for software. Or we go, they can try a single gate and see what the cost is for that gate. But if they go back and maybe they try another style, and if within the software that currently exists, the Fence Genius software anyway, we have the 3D tool that we have built in. And when you look at a product in Fence Genius, everything is to scale. Every item is data, so it's actually to scale. And they get an idea of exactly what it's going to look like. Now, our gates are built with 2 6-inch lag screws per rail, and they will not sag. It's just about impossible for them to sag. And so we're going to specialize in gates. When I left Home Depot at COVID time, I took with me 18 of the gate SKUs, and they just have never recovered. And there's just all kinds of people out there that need gates. So this is just a breakthrough way that we can enable people to either build to their posts that they've already installed, or they can build to post locations, or they can just quick order and order like a 3 by 6 foot gate. But if you're building to the posts, you can download this form right here. And reading through it briefly, quickly, between A and B, you put a mark on the left post standing on the hinge side, and you carry that level line mark over to the right post, and then you just take these measurements. The A is to the bottom of the gate that you want, the B is to the top of the gate that you want, and then C you measure in 3 different places, low, middle, and high, and you take the lowest measurement. And then D and E are the same as A and B. And then you put those into the worksheet, and you name it, and that way then you can come back to the software and put those in, and you'll see in a few minutes how you see the gate. Now, if you have like an arch gate or a convex gate, you can put in the arch size. Maybe you want a gentle arch, like 4 inches, or maybe you want a more pronounced arch, maybe 9 or 10 inches. So that gives a person the ability to update and change and see what it looks like. Now, if you're looking to go ahead and put that into the software now, perhaps we could have a button like this where you could go ahead and go to one of these 3 options depending on your circumstance. And let's go into the one where we've already got posts, and we'll put in this pre-measured post system. Now, first thing you do is you name the gate. There might be multiple gates on a property. This may be a contractor doing this, who knows? So maybe they have a lot of different properties and they need to keep track of what's what. But so they start off by putting in that lower left post side, and then you put in the upper, and this is one of our patented methods here. This is the measured distance apart of the existing posts standing on the hinge side. Now, when they put in this lower right, suddenly the elevation comes in. Now, this tells them that it's got 7 inches of elevation change. Now, they're going to have the same thing happen on the top. All of a sudden, elevation change will happen. It's no longer horizontal. Both of them are deviating from the grade. Now, that's because they have some kind of a contour following fence. Now, they can try the trim side, see what it looks like. They can go back to the rail side, and they can visualize hardware or include it in the cost. And these are all to scale. This can help reduce returns. It can also help customers be more self-sufficient. And this is all things that we can do within Fence Genius. And then they can, if they decide, I want it to be flat on the top, regardless of my measurements, then they can force it to be flat, and they lose a little bit of height. But then the same thing on the bottom. Maybe they want to put a sidewalk underneath this. They have their critical measurements. Now they forced it to be horizontal, so now they can put a sidewalk under there. Now this slab width is 36.5. That comes from this actual measurement that then is driven by the hinge and latch clearance that's put in there. So then that dictates the width. And then they could go and they could change their fence board size and see what the cost does on the system and how it looks. Now, if they decided they want to move forward, this is our proposal sheet, and this gives them absolute consumer clarity on what they've done. These are their dimensions they put in, or a store associate perhaps put in with them. And it tells them this is how much gate swing clearance you have to have for this to swing at the 36.5 inch dimension. Then it also tells them the heights and the elevation change and the width of the slab and the hinge clearance. Now, here it specifies the hardware is not included, and it, of course, designates the different items. Now, we could put SKUs, Lowe's SKUs in here too, obviously, and the fence board gap and the lattice height. So they have incredible clarity. Now, where they had where they chose to force it to be horizontal, this shows them that they lost that much height on the top and the bottom. And it shows them right here how much they've lost off of their measurement so that they're not taken by surprise when the gate's not as tall. It can't be as tall because it's got to conform to square. Anyway, there's so many different ways that Fence Genius can bring the actual fence and gate program to a new level, whether it be for store products or installed products or .com. But I think that, if we work together on something like this, as we, as Fence Genius, progress into ornamental iron and chain link and vinyl, if we were working together, just think about what this website could be and how much better it could serve the contractors and what kind of a different look you would have from contractors and from the DIY. And to keep in mind, Fence Genius brings kind of the good, better, best. Good being stick built, or good being, commodity panels, better being stick built, and best is custom built panels that are ready to install. And that's what Fence Genius is. And it's the only software and method in the world to do this. And I hope we can work together. My phone number is 206-510-3754. And we hope to hear from you. Anyway, thanks a lot. Have a good day. Bye.